Hi, everybody. Good morning, Lemon Nation. Hello, Lemon Heads. By the way, I remembered the TikTok. The TikTok got to see my accident that I just had on the way to the show, which is while I was sitting here. I had this powder that keeps me from being shiny. There's no color. Dropped it on the floor. It's all over the carpet. Maybe TMI, too much information, but there we go. So thank you for joining us this morning. This is our hot. We're so glad that you're on. I told you, old people be knowing. I told you about the markets. I'm going to stop saying I told you so because the folks I believe who are here, where's my pen? The folks I believe who are here already know the score. Okay. So we have some bad news. We have some good news. We have a smorgasbord. The market is slightly down. It's been down. It was supposed to be up. Remember, all of this stuff was supposed to be great and it was supposed to raise the market and everything was supposed to be fantastic. But I don't see that happening. So let us know where you are watching us stream from. We have a great guest. Wait till you see our guest. You're going to love it. It's going to wake you up this morning. So let us know where you are streaming or watching us stream from. Welcome to the program. By the way, at the top of the chat, there are two things this is my call to action today. So, of course, make sure you hit the like, the thumbs up. It affects the algorithm. More people become aware of that we're here and that they become aware of our conversation and our channel and who are great guests. We want our guests to have great engagement, and our guest always does. I'll tell you in a second. Also, at the top of the chat, we were nominated for a Webby Award. So make sure you click on that link and go vote for us in the Webby Award. Last I checked, we're in third place. How are you going to let us be in third place for this award? Lemon Heads, Lemon Nation. So hit that, and also hit the like, hit the thumbs up, and thank you for all our members. Welcome to the Lemon Nation. Carol's daughter, 39. Is this a real Carol's daughter? I hope so. Anyway, so glad that you've become a member. This is the first person that I've seen this morning that has become a member. So thank you. Hi, Pittsburgh. Hi, M. Gray. Welcome. Hi, LaShonda Cables from Kansas City, Missouri. Welcome. Okay, so good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Don Lemon Show. Donald Trump just lost an L for Donald Trump and his administration. A 9-0 vote at the Supreme Court. 9-0 at the Supreme Court. Let that sink in. 9-0. He lost even the 3 justices that he appointed to the court. And I believe it is good news. Somewhat. I'll tell you why. It is good news, but then there's a caveat, as they say. So the SCOTUS yesterday evening said that the Trump administration is required to, quote, facilitate the release of a Maryland man who was wrongfully deported to El Salvador, to a gulag there, to one of the most notorious prisons in the world, okay? The court partly granted partly rejected an emergency request filed by the Justice Department contesting a judge's order that Kilmar Abrego Garcia, remember that, he be retrieved from a prison in El Salvador where he was sent on March 15th, along with men alleged to be Venezuelan gang members. And here's the quote. The rule of law won today. Time to bring him home, Andrew Rossman, one of Abrego Garcia's lawyers, said in an email. Now, the decision means that the administration does not immediately have to try to return Abrego Garcia to the United States because a judge imposed a deadline. That judge-imposed deadline has already expired. But it should be prepared to share what it can concerning the steps it has taken and the prospect of further steps, the unsigned decision said. Okay, so the thing is that they're going to have to explain what facilitate means. The lower court, basically what the court did, the Supreme Court, is they said, you're going to have to facilitate bringing this man back. Then they're going to talk about what facilitate means. They send it back to the lower court. The lower court has to give more explanation to the executive branch, meaning the Trump administration, as to why they believe this man should be returned. I do believe in the end they will have to bring him back, but we shall see. Okay, we have so much to discuss. Fortunately, a fan favorite is here. Everybody, welcome to the program. Reecie, do you have applause on your thing? No. Welcome to the
I
program.
don't. Hey, Don.
Reecie Colbert is here with us from the Reecie Colbert Show on Sirius XM. I like to add a little flair. I like to call her Reecie Colbert, but it's
You
Reecie
do
Colbert.
all the time.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm so good. It is good to see you after seeing you last week in person, Don, with your handsome self.
Thank you. She's so gorgeous. She's like very regal and elegant. I didn't
Oh,
realize. you were so tall. I forget how that you're tall and regal and sinewy and glamorous.
Ooh, I don't get called rich that, honey, but yes, I am. So people are so surprised how tall I am when I feel like I got a big mouth. You would think I seem tall. So yes.
Yeah.
Hey there.
So you see this, right? Speaking of tall and regal, I had dinner last night. I'll tell you about it in a minute.
Oh yes, honey. I want the taste that you already sipping on it.
See, and it's hot, it's warm and lemony. Yeah, I had it. And this hot topic show is I borrowed from Wendy Williams. Okay,
Yes, icon.
beautiful sweater, Reecie. They say.
Oh, thank you.
Beautiful gowns. So
Gowns, beautiful gowns.
can we talk, Reecie, before we get into this? I want to talk about the return of this prisoner, or the facilitation of the return of this prisoner. But can we talk about, because I haven't spoken to you since last week when these tariffs, this was right as these tariffs were going into effect, correct? And we were on an amazing panel with the National Action Network, which is Reverend Al Sharpton, with April Ryan, me, you, and what's his name from, why can't I think of his name?
Errol Lewis.
Errol Lewis, yes, from New York One, right? Okay, yeah. So what have you been doing regarding these tariffs? I know you have been doing a show on it. What is your take? How are you feeling?
Well, a lot of people don't know, or some people don't know, that I'm a business economics major, accounting minor from UCLA, and I have an MBA from Northeastern. So your girl has credentials when it comes to this topic of the economy. And I'm also a business owner myself. And so what I've been trying to do is combat this right-wing propaganda, the completely ridiculous misconceptions that people have, particularly the way that people think and they hear deficit and they think that there is a debt that we somehow owe other countries. And that's the main thing I'm trying to dispel. And then I also need people to understand this is a sales tax on Americans. China doesn't pay. The Chinese citizens are not paying taxes on this. We're the ones paying the taxes. And it's so ironic considering that the price of the eggs, the price of bacon, the price of gas, the price of rent, everything was too damn high when Kamala and Joe were in there. Everybody was sensitive, even though inflation was down, 3%, something like that. But now this fool is sitting up here talking about you get 100%, you get 200%, you get the penguins get 30%, and people are okay with this. This is absolutely nuts, Don.
Yeah. When you talk about trade deficit, let's talk about what that is. Like I have a trade deficit. I don't know. Let's suppose something with someone who gives me services. Because they give me more, or I give them more than what they give me. Let's just say the water company. I had to take a phone call from the water company this morning. They said, we don't have your correct address because you moved or whatever. And I feel like I have a trade deficit with them because I'm giving them a lot of money and I don't feel like they're giving me as much water, but that is not, you understand what I'm saying?
Well, let me give you an example of a trade deficit for you, Don. Okay, so if people are not a Lemonhead member of your show, like if you get an Uber Eats driver, right? That Uber Eats driver brings you some food, but they don't subscribe to your YouTube channel. You have a trade deficit with them.
Right.
Like, even though in that exchange, you all mutually benefited. They got paid, they got a tip, they got the little coin, you got your food. Boom, we even, right? But in terms of if you're measuring the trade deficit, then they didn't buy anything from you. You bought something from them. You bought their services, but they didn't buy your services. That's what essentially a trade deficit is. So there's a very big difference between a trade deficit. You buy my goods, I buy your goods. And in exchange, somebody is getting the upper end of the stick in an exchange.
Amen. So Reecie be knowing. So, so thank you guys for tuning in. Again, make sure you hit the thumbs up, make sure you hit the like, and we're going to explain all of this. So since we're talking about this, and as we're watching the markets here, because it's a little bit frightening. I don't know if I've been on a roller coaster. Look, I'm a man of a certain age. I got to retire.
Yeah.
I'm watching my retirement. Okay. And I'm like, wait a minute. Y'all are messing this up. This is our friend, Stephen A. Smith. And you had a few words for him. Not only did you school him, but I think you schooled a lot of people. Here it is.
I support tariffs. I have no problem with it.
Please back it up.
I do believe that I support tariffs. I have no problem with it. I do believe that the United States has been paying too much money. We've been giving too much money out.
Stephen A. Smith, we are not giving too much money away to China. So if that's your basis for supporting Donald Trump's tariffs, which is a tax increase on Americans, you need to think again. First of all, we're not giving anything to China. We are engaging in commerce with China, whether that be direct retail commerce, Shein, Temu, AliExpress, Alibaba, etc., or whether that be as a business who is importing goods from China that we then sell, or importing parts that go into assembly of products that we sell. Either one of those cases, it's not giving. Giving is, hey, you got $5, I can go get me a cheeseburger, I ain't got no money. Giving is, oh, I ran out of gas, I need to put my gas in my car, you got it. Can you spot me $5? That's giving. There's no giving in this situation. It's an exchange. I pay, you give me a good. I benefit from the good, you benefit from the money. You should understand that. Every single penny that we give in these exchanges is, I would think, if you're buying something, you feel you're getting an equal or more utility. So what you're supporting is actually increasing costs on Americans, is hurting small businesses, which I could say as a small business owner myself, I now have to pay double what I paid for the same quantity, same quality of goods when Vice President Kamala Harris and President Joe Biden were in office. The same shit is now costing me double for no reason whatsoever. Now, I'm not getting any utility from that. So you know who's taking from me? Donald Trump. And he's taking from me so that he can give people like you a tax cut. Maybe you're okay with that because they're claiming that these tariffs are going to finance these trillions of dollars of tax cuts that people like you, Stephen A. Smith, benefit from, who don't have to worry about with small business owners who buy wholesale and then sell in America. And they use that for their profits. Or people who are broke or who are poor who need cheap goods so that they can make ends meet, so that they can actually have the things that they need in life, the basics. Maybe that's not something that you care about, but don't sit up here and mislead people into thinking that China is taking something from us. They don't need us, which is why we're importing more from them than they're importing from us. But whatever that they're getting from us, it's because we're getting something in return. That's how it works. It's not charity, it's commerce.
Thank you. And that is a degree from where?
UCLA, honey, and Northeastern University.
Economics?
Business economics. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Because can we bring back jazz and laughter, what she said? And I've always been very hesitant to, especially brothers and sisters, to criticize them. But jazz and laughter is right. Stephen A. is always loud and wrong. Always fucking loud and wrong. Why does he do that? And then he's always criticizing everybody and always like, it's just like a check.
Right.
Wait, where's the money at? Stephen A. Smith
where the money resides.
Is always loud and wrong, where the money resides. Okay, get your check, but don't misinform people and stop talking about people that you don't fucking know anything about. Right. And you're just loud. He's like, I mean, it's just, look, this is a personal thing. Well, Don Lemon, this is all. I'm like, Stephen A., you don't know shit about my business situation, what happened to me at CNN, and nothing. And ratings. Because when you watch this show, they ain't that good. So, Stephen A., stop talking shit about other people and take care of the shit in your own house. Okay? And stop cozying up to whiteness. That's all you do. Anyway, go on.
No, you preach it. And guess what? You know, aspiring presidential candidate. Ain't he one out there trying to talk about, people telling me I should run for president? Well, boo, guess what? Welcome to the big leagues. If you're going to run for president, you're going to have to go through me, okay? Because you're not going to be out there spreading misinformation, disinformation, regurgitating right-wing talking points, loud and wrong, and think you're not going to get checked. And I was very respectful because normally I'm mother effer this, mother effer that. But I said, I'm not going to do a black man like that.
Exactly. I've been saying that for years. This is the first time where I said, Stephen, go, you know what? Go ahead.
Right. But the bottom line is, if you don't know, then maybe just instead of being loud and wrong, just be quiet and wrong. Because if you quiet and wrong, nobody got to know that you don't know what you're talking about. But the bottom line is the main thing that I wanted people to know, in addition to the way that this tariff stuff works, is that rich people like Stephen A. Smith, of course, they're not going to have a problem with it because tariffs are a regressive tax. How much do you think Stephen A. Smith is on a Shein? You think he's buying his hair dye on Shein or, his ties, whatever situation may be, his shoes? No. He buying Italian, that, whatever already. So this stuff is it's small potatoes to him. But not everybody has money like that to be paying double. And then when cheap goods aren't available, you're either going to have lower variety because the retailers are not going to be able to bring in these goods at that cheap cost because it's no longer cheap. They no longer have a profit margin. So this has so many implications on people who ain't got it already. That's why that y'all claim that's why y'all wanted Kamala and Joe out there. The people ain't got it, and now they really ain't about to have it. So it's we cannot let people who are wealthy, rich, whatever the case may be, act like this stuff is cool, like Howard Lucknick. Oh, cheap goods aren't the American dream. Now it's not American dream. It's called barely scraping and getting by for most people. So ain't like people living large off of Shein and Temu and AliExpress and Alibaba. Yeah, I mean, some of us, well, I don't know. My hair doesn't come from AliExpress, honey. My hair is sourced directly from my girl. But some people, look, they're going to AliExpress and say, I'm not paying your profit for these bundles. So now them bundles on AliExpress, they just went up. DHgate, if you get your little knockoffs, your dupes just went up, honey. And so that might be the American dream. Have a little dupe, Louis Vuitton. That Louis Vuitton dupe, shall go back to Canal. Canal prices is going up. Okay. Everything is going up. So, I mean, I'm making fun of it, but the reality is this stuff is really serious, Don. The price
is really serious.
Yeah.
Look, I love that you're adding a little humor in it because it should be, because people are crying and people who live paycheck to paycheck are like, what do you mean you're all for tariffs?
Right. Exactly.
I don't have time to wait this out until the economy gets better. I don't have time for the uncertainty. I don't have time. Tariff is just another name for tax.
It's a tax.
Why don't they just say a tax, a goods tax?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Instead of saying a tariff, that's what it is.
Right.
And the tax is paid for by the consumer and by the business owner. The business owner first is to pay it, and then the business owner, right, in order to make a profit, gives that money, sends that tax or whatever onto the consumer, which is an increase in price.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So that's something. If you have less profit, less, then that's less that you can grow your business. That's fewer people you can hire. That's it's going to be slower for you to expand. So there are very real implications to this, even though the market might be seesawing a little bit. And that's market manipulation. I'm glad people are talking about insider trading when it comes to what Donald Trump is doing, making announcements. Oh, buy now, whatever situation may be. The damage is still long term. These companies already, they get real shook. They get real like, oh, I don't know about that expansion this year. Ooh, it's an unstable market, and so we ain't gonna be able to hire more people, or them raises is gonna be 2% instead of 3%. So this is real. Not in addition to the fact that they're trying to put us back into this, I guess, agricultural, even though they heard, big ag, this manufacturing culture. But one of the things that we export the most, Don, is our services. One of the biggest strengths of our economy is travel and hospitality. People ain't gonna want to come here when you harassing people at the border, going through their phones looking for anti-Trump stuff. You revoking visas and all kind of stuff. So there is every aspect of this economy is being damaged by Donald Trump and Republicans allowing him to do this damage.
Yeah. Reecie, I'm glad you're talking about this. And I'm glad you mentioned the market manipulation of it all, because I talked about that with Kevin O'Leary yesterday, and he went off on me. I don't know if you saw that. He went off saying that I had Trump derangement syndrome, blah, 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 blah. Huh? And because, do you know Kevin O'Leary? From Shark Tank?
Yeah, I do. I be seeing him he be on Abby's show, acting unhinged. Stick to Shark Tank, honey. Why he gotta be a commentator to be loud and wrong as well? He could just be on Shark Tank, giving people money or whatever.
But I think it's always the rich people, the rich and mainly rich men who are like, oh, this is great because they are making money in the market, and they probably bought in the low side, right?
Yeah,
and they
buy the dip.
Buy the dip. They bought the dip, and then all of a sudden Donald Trump says a good time to buy, and they're like, yeah, we did. Boom. Okay, great. So I don't know what's going on, but market manipulation or insider trading, we know, is very legal, and people get caught up in it. Okay.
Well, Martha Stewart was in jail for less, honey. Wasn't she up in jail planting herbs and shit? She was. They had Martha Stewart in jail behind insider trading. And Martha Stewart went to jail for that. What we doing?
In
What we doing? What we
jail.
doing?
I'm in jail without no bail. Okay, so listen, we're gonna speaking of, look, we have to work for a living, so I got to pay some bills. So stand by, okay?
Okay.
So listen, stand by, Reecie Colbert. So today's show, the Don Lemon Show, is sponsored by BetterHelp. All right, and we can all use some mental health tweaking, fixing, because everybody's dealing with something right now, of course. And you guys know how I feel about mental health. Take the stigma off, go get some help. So BetterHelp, the show, is sponsoring our show today. So therapy can feel like a big investment because it can be so expensive. You can pay $100 to $250 an hour for therapy. And that's like in-person therapy. But it should not have to cost that much. You can get as much as 50% off on average, okay, per person at BetterHelp.com. With BetterHelp, you pay a flat fee, if I can get my lips to work this morning, for weekly sessions, saving you big on cost and on time. Therapy should be acceptable, as I said. It shouldn't be a luxury. With online therapy, you get quality care at a price that makes sense and can help you with anything from anxiety to everyday stress. I do it. I do mine online, and it has worked miracles for me. Your mental health is worth it, and now it is within reach. If you've benefited from therapy, please let us know. Share your experience in the chat. As I said, I have benefited from therapy, and I am a big proponent of it. So whether you have been in therapy personally or not, I still want to know how you feel about it, because we're going to discuss it here on this program. There are many, many benefits from therapy. And with over 30,000 therapists, they've helped some 5 million people. They are knowledgeable, 5 million people globally. They have the knowledge and they have the materials to be able to help you. It is convenient. You can join a session with a click of a button, helping you fit therapy into your busy life, plus switch therapists at any time. So your well-being is well worth it. Visit BetterHelp.com/Don Lemon to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Don Lemon. Go there and check it out. You don't have to sign up, but just go check it out. I would suggest that you do sign up on a limited basis if you want, and then let us know here how you feel. I think it will help you. I know it will help you. BetterHelp.com/Don Lemon. Also, today's program, The Don Lemon Show, is brought to you by the Freedom from Religion Foundation. Have you ever noticed how more and more people are stepping away from organized religion? I know that I am. You guys know I'm a believer. I tell you this every day when I talk about the Freedom from Religion Foundation. I just wrote a book. It debuted or dropped in September, and was about this very issue, about folks who are trying to turn America into a theocracy. We're not. We're a democratic republic, and there should be a separation of church and state. So the Freedom from Religion Foundation, that's where it comes in. They don't want people to shove their beliefs around you, especially when they try to codify them in law. So the Freedom from Religion Foundation comes in here. They fight to keep church and state separate like our founders intended. So go to ffrf.us/freedom or text my first name, which is Don. I know you know me by Lemon, but my first name, Don, to 511-511. Become a member today. Text Don to 511-511 or go to ffrf.us/freedom, because the only thing worse than someone forcing religion on you is when they do it by law. For membership information, text Don to 511-511 today. Text fees may apply, but both of these are good. And I will only do on this program sponsors that I know are doing good and that will help you. Okay. So let's bring back our guest, Reecie Colbert. Reecie, I believe in some therapy. I don't know about you. And I believe in God.
Absolutely, honey.
Yes. And I believe in keeping the church and the state separate.
I love those commercials too. With he's like a lifelong atheist, not afraid to burn hell. Is that the same thing? That's the same organization, right? The Reagan guy.
The Freedom from Religion Foundation.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So Reecie, let's talk about it. This is when you were talking about the economy and what this is doing and all these tariffs. Let's talk about, this is Jasmine Crockett, who we know, talking about how the economy is tanking and people have short memories. They have amnesia. Here it is.
The fact that no one is questioning his mental acuity or fitness to serve is beyond wild to me, right? Like the fact that they sat around, called Joe Biden, sleepy Joe Biden. And as I said before, at least you could sleep at night because you didn't have to worry about your 401k disappearing overnight. You didn't have to worry about these allegations of fake invasions. You didn't have to worry about the cost of food just skyrocketing or skyrocketing cost of all of your electronics. You know, the fact that Apple was flying in planes of iPhones before the tariffs hit, like this is crazy work for no reason. So, you know, I just hope that people remember, because seemingly they got amnesia the first time. And so you've got opportunities to vote. And I will tell you that every single special election we've had, Democrats are swinging no less than 15 points. But honestly, we should be swinging 30 and 40 points because of the level of incompetence and harm that this administration is bringing upon all of us.
What you say to that?
She is 100% correct. I mean, he botched the economy the last time, and I said this throughout the election. I'm like, why are we running against January 6th Trump when he botched the economy and he messed up the pandemic? Like, we forgot all that part. So she's right. We need to keep reminding people. I don't care what nobody say. Keep reminding people that all of this was avoidable. This was not inevitable, and keep reminding people of how unhinged all of this stuff is. I think she's 100% right that it's crazy that we don't talk about just the mental faculties of Donald Trump, regardless of his age. What are your mental faculties when all of your reasoning is based on fabricated, logic, when everything that you're doing serves no purpose that we can see? Now, if somebody got buying the dip and they got short in the market and they got margin calls and all that kind of stuff, hey, maybe then it makes sense for those people. But for us, the American people who actually have to pay the consequences of his decisions, it's not making dollars and it's not making sense. Okay.
Yeah. But, and I just to say, for the record, okay, Martha Stewart did not go to jail for insider trading. James Comey, yes, James Comey prosecuted her for lying in the course of an investigation into alleged insider trading. So it was insider trading adjacent. All right.
Right. Okay. I'm glad you corrected that. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Because we all people get litigious these days. You know what I'm saying? It was my recollection.
No, mine too. And listen, I remember covering the case. I remember Martha Stewart going to court and being sentenced. I worked for NBC News then, and her big umbrella, and I was standing there with my big umbrella. It was raining, and I was reporting on Martha Stewart. I don't know if it was a Today Show or MSNBC or whatever it was, but I was out there like, Martha Stewart is with her going to jail for she's been indicted or whatever. I forget what day it was, but I just remember, because I'm old, so old people be knowing. Jasmine Crockett is right. Why do people have such amnesia as it relates to Donald Trump? Under Joe Biden, tariffs are bad. Under Donald Trump, tariffs are good. Under Joe Biden, a deficit is bad. Under Donald Trump, a deficit is good. Under Joe Biden, a recession is bad. Inflation bad. Under Donald Trump, it is good because he's trying to correct something, that fix a problem that it was a solution waiting for a problem. You understand what I'm saying? Why is that?
I understand that. Well, part of it is a lot of people don't want to admit that they did the wrong thing. So they trying to stick with it. And they trying to stick with it like, oh, okay, this ain't what we signed up for. And people are trying to think that this is some master plan or something like that. And it's all going to work out in the end. Nah, it didn't work out last time he was in office, and Joe Biden and Kamala had to come in and had to clean up his mess. Okay. So I think it's a lot of wishful thinking. I think it's people who don't want to stand in what they're supporting. But then also, Dom, we do have to admit that they're still kind of, getting people with these culture wars, with this anti-DEI, anti-woke, anti-trans, anti-immigrant stuff. His most cruel policies are his most popular ones. So he's still getting some capital because he is inflicting cruelty on the people that his voters want to see harmed. And so they're willing to take a little bit of heat as a result of, making sure that other populations are harmed the most.
Why do people believe him so much is what I don't understand. And because first of all, he lies. Yeah. Secondly, his folks will say one thing, right? His advisors or the spokespeople will go out and say one thing, and then an hour later he comes and he contradicts them. Peter Navarro is out here begging people for some praise. I'm not joking. Like literally, watch. Here it is.
Provide them the appropriate set of advice. Every one of us on the team has a different skill set that combines to the collective wisdom of the group, and the boss makes the decision. And look, Casey, please, would you give us some kudos here for what happened? We're on a path now. For over 90 days. We're going to have every country come in who's admitted they cheated us, giving us hundreds of billions of dollars back for the American people and bring an investment here.
So we can put up on the screen
I don't know how you
long
spin it
some of this
any
takes,
other
right?
way.
So we've got.
I mean, do you remember Jeb Bush? They gave him so much guff for. Please clap. Can you please praise us for doing some dumb bullshit that didn't have to be done? Can you please praise us for tanking the economy? Can you please praise us for taking grandma's Social Security and retirement money?
Right. It's like taking a bank hostage, and then when you release the hostages, be like, please praise me. Hell no, you need to go to jail because you had no business taking the people hostage to begin with. Like, they're taking the world economy, not just the American economy, the world economy hostage.
He needs to go to Peter Navarro. Didn't he go to jail? Wasn't he convicted? Yes. Ron Vera. That he made up the fake name, but Peter Navarro did did go to jail. Yes.
Now, I am enjoying down a little bit of this white on white crime between Peter Navarro and some of these billionaires and Elon Musk, and everybody is now they're waking up, and now they're like, hold on now.
On September 7th of 2023, Peter Navarro was convicted on both counts, and on January 25th, 2024, he was sentenced to 4 months in jail and fined $9,500, becoming the first former White House official ever imprisoned on contempt of Congress conviction.
Ooh, child. Now, if he was El Salvadorian or Venezuelan, he would have been deported under Trump. It's okay for a convicted felon to be president, for them to be the person tanking the world economy, but it's not okay to be like the Maryland father, a law-abiding citizen who happens to be El Salvadorian. Under Trump's watch.
We're gonna talk about that. They are appealing, by the way, to the with this stuff seriously. And look, I don't want to disparage anyone, but it's true, because he says he loves the poorly educated. Yes. And I think that's what they're appealing to. And because his people don't like smart people. They think like, oh, these smart people, they're blah, 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 blah. Jessica Tarlov over on the Fox News trying to educate some people, and they're laughing at her because she's actually citing facts and people who know what they're talking about.
He's just transparent. He's also trying to market this as the fact that he paused the tariffs, and he absolutely did not. He canceled the reciprocal tariffs, but we are still, as Dana said, tariffing the entire globe 10%, even the people that we have good relationships with, like Australia. And there was questioning of Jameson Greer, our trade representative, earlier this week about why we're possibly doing that, and he had absolutely no answer for it. The Yale Budget Lab just came out with new figures based on yesterday's tariff numbers that says that this will cost each American household $4,400. This is the highest tariff rate since 1909.
Who came up with that?
The Yale Budget Lab.
Oh, not the Yale Budget Lab.
Oh, I'm sorry that I didn't pull it out of a cartoon or something wherever you got your point.
We'll see it tomorrow everywhere else.
No.
The Yale Budget Lab.
Why are you making fun of smart people that calculate things? The economic.
How stupid are these people? Seriously.
So damn dumb. That's crazy. But you know what? Those people are millionaires and they know better. But they know that their audience is going to hear, they're just anti-Trump. They're in the Child. Well, when you feel that $4,000, you're going to be like, well, Yale tried to tell us. They're going to... People ain't making these numbers up. People are really going to feel this, okay? So when it happens, don't be mad when somebody says, I told you so.
Yeah. I don't know if did you see the Fox and Friends moment where they finally realized that the tariffs were a tax on the business people and consumers because of a report that they saw finally in the New York Post? I guess it did not penetrate their echo chamber or their bubble where every expert, every economic expert, every former economic advisor was saying this is madness. This is going to cause inflation. It's going to put us into a recession. This is a tax on the consumer. And that did not penetrate their bubble. But a story from the New York Post where a small business owner said it to the New York Post, which is a Rupert Murdoch venture, or he owns it, the paper, owned paper. All of a sudden, they finally realize that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it still doesn't surprise me that people still don't get it, because tariff sounds foreign. And then when you're putting a tariff on a country, it sounds like you're penalizing that country. You're standing up to that country. It's a sales tax. It's just embedded in the price. So when you go and you buy a good, you don't know, well, this part of the price is, labor. This part of the price is indirect expenses. You just see one price. So it's not as in your face, but it's gonna be more in your face now, because you're not gonna be able to miss it. I mean, let's say you can go to this county or that county. This county has a 0% sales tax. This county has 100% sales tax. You're gonna be like, I ain't going to that county. Nah, I'm good. So you're gonna empty. You're gonna put all your shit back on the shelf, and you're gonna be like, let me get up out of here. These taxes is too high. And so that's what they're doing. They're doing this to us. It's like going to a register and they put 140%.
Stupidity. Now, I've misspelled that wrong on purpose, so don't pretend.
Oh God.
I'm just saying it is stupidity, and it is. And play my friend over at the CNN.
Joe D, he's buying one of those pool things, you can sit in, and his is a beer holder on the side.
He had an umbrella yesterday.
He had an umbrella, so maybe he's going to put that over this. But he wants this for the summer. Okay, so this, when I looked today, and I looked for a lot of sources, sorry, it's a little hard to write this way, it's $19.99 right now. No tariffs in there at all. Okay, so if I'm going to put 145% tariff on this thing, okay, so, right, 145 is what we're talking about? Okay, 145, because it's going to come from China on Amazon, 145%. Okay, so then I'm going to get $28.99. That's just the tariff.
And the Modelo and the Heineken,
they're right. I mean, those are right, exactly right. I mean,
they may not be letting those.
I know. Oh my gosh, you just are making my head spin. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and add these two numbers, and I'm going to get the total for Joe to buy this. Sorry, $48.98. Okay, $48.98. $48.98. Now, that's insane. That's ridiculous.
I love me some Erin Burnett. I mean, I do. I think she is amazing. I just love her. And that was very simply done, where she explains, this is how much you're going to be paying for something.
Well, let me also put it this way too, because I'll say this again as a business owner, right? So when we buy our stuff wholesale, right? I'm going to get my game manufacturer. I'm buying 5,000 units. Now for 5,000 units, I'm going to just keep the math simple. Let's say it's a $1 a unit. Instead of $5,000, I have to come up with $10,000. If I don't have $10,000, then that means that I can't buy 5,000 units anymore. So let's say now I can only afford to buy 1,000 units. But now that 1,000 unit costs me $1.50 per unit. So now I have a higher per unit price. So guess what? Now I have fewer goods available. I have a lower margin on those goods. Now I have one product. Any other business, there might be buying 100 products. So each time they're either having to pay higher unit prices, or because they can't buy the same quantity, or they're not going to buy that product at all. So it's not going to be available by those retailers. Or they have to come up with more money that's not value added. It's not real. The extra 5,000 in my original math I started with is a tax. It's purely a tax. And
you see what that says? Is that right? Is Jamie Lunas correct?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's more than that, right? Because it's 145% is more. 100% is double. It's double. That's double tax. So it's just pointless. It's pointless, Don. And we don't want to make everything. We ain't got the climate to make every vegetable and fruit that we bring in. We don't want to do every single thing in America. And we're the richest, most powerful country in the world. The idea that we're victims is so freaking ridiculous. That in and of itself should be laughable to people.
And now, Farmers are hurting.
Yep.
I speak to farmers all the time. We've done a number of them. I want to do a farm tour, but things is high right now. I don't know if I can afford to be taking a crew to go talk to some farmers no, seriously. But
do a little Zoom chat, like hop on the Zoom.
I want to go do a farm tour, and I think I'm going to go do it. But because the farmers are really hurting, and they are the canaries in the coal mine. They, I believe, are the leading indicators as to what's going to happen with the economy, and they are struggling out there. The odd thing is that a lot of them voted for Donald Trump, and I think a lot of them are having buyer's remorse, or are they having some cognitive dissonance where they're like, "Wait a minute, they're not sure yet. They are gonna find out. They're in they did the F around phase."
Yes.
And now, honestly, they're going to find out. Now, this is the agriculture secretary that I want you to see here. Apparently, she has not spoken to the farmers or to the struggling families in the world. But this is what she's saying, and she's glazing Donald Trump.
First, we are, I would say, more than friends. We've all become family. And I think that what you have assembled in your vision is a turning point and an inflection point in American history. And so just being a part of that is the greatest honor. So thank you for that. And again, just the relationships here and the honor and respect we have for each other is a reflection of you and your leadership. So I just wanted to say that first. The second thing.
What is this, honey? What is this?
No, I can see. Look, that sounded like a toast you give someone at an anniversary or a birthday or a retirement. Like, look, I just want to say I loved you so much. I loved working with you. You did such great things for me. I love you. I love you. I love you. You made everybody love coming into this office, whatever. But sitting around a board meeting, like, come on now.
Oh,
what is going on here?
We're a family that is starving children around the world because we cut world food aid, which, by the way, is hurting our farmers. Like, this is the most toxic, demonic family that I never seen. Okay, y'all all a bunch of horrible people, and it's disgusting. You know what he should have done? He should have ran for Mr. America, and then he could have been on a tour the whole time, waving his hand, because this man just wants people to just heap praise on him and golf. That's what he wants. You could do that, Donald Trump. Somebody should have told him you could do that without being president. Okay, that's all you're looking for. Leave us out the group chat. You could have just went ahead and done your little book tours. That's what most ex-presidents do, right? They go on a speech tour and they do other little stuff. Why are we in it? Why are we in it?
Yeah. This is how democracies die, according to Chris Murphy, who is, the Senator Chris Murphy. He's been doing a lot of great things, but at this particular pace where we are, here it is.
Most of the time, there is not a singular moment when the executive dramatically seizes power. There's not normally a brazen attempt to burn down the Parliament building. No, instead, democracies die when gradually, often quietly and methodically over time, the structures that hold the executive accountable for corruption, for thievery, for wrongdoing are dismantled. There are 4 institutions that the regime attacks, and attacks relentlessly until those structures of accountability are so disintegrated that even though elections continue to happen, the same party or the same person wins power election after election. And those 4 institutions are the press, the legal profession, universities, and the business community. If you degrade or co-opt these 4 institutions, you never need to have a high-stakes fight with the top court in your country.
And that's what he's doing.
Absolutely.
Reecie, that is what he's doing right now with those 4 institutions.
Yep.
This is a wake-up call.
It is. And they told us they was going to do it. This is Project 2025. They have been methodical. That's why sometimes I push back at the whole incompetent thing. Yes, there's a sloppiness in what they do, but they have, and my boy Clay Kane, our friend Clay Kane, he says they have done their homework. And it looks like they just pulling stuff out of their ass sometimes, but the reality is they have been very strategic in how they are attacking each of these institutions, how they're dismantling any kind of opposition to them through these institutions. Now we see people are starting to rise up. There were huge protests, but the institutions themselves are still supposed to be our strongest defense against a strong man, against an autocracy, against an oligarchy. And there's so much capitulation that it's going to be harder to undo some of these things, or a lot of these things that they're doing. They're leaving no stone unturned. They're going after voting with the SAVE Act. They are going after education. Marco Rubio talking about thought crimes. So they're going after what's in your head. Okay. It's absolutely insane that people don't realize we're already there. We're already in a very, very, very bad situation where you cannot truly call this place a democracy anymore.
This is crazy. There's a Democratic congressman who is, I want you, I remember this is a Democrat, because at first when I heard it, I was like, wait, what? I thought it was real. Now look, in this day and age, I would not put this past, this in the Gulf of America age, and the put Donald Trump on Mount Rushmore age. I thought, oh shit, this is real. What's wrong with this person? Now everybody sit back and just listen to this. Okay, here it is.
If we're going to waste this committee's time just to glorify one man's ego, I propose that we at least be efficient about this, right? I mean, that's the theme of the day, efficiency from Doge and others. And so the great Wayne Gretzky once said, you don't skate to where the puck is, you skate to where it's going to be. And my amendment tries to do that. I mean, why do all of this Trump glorification in a piecemeal manner? Why not cut to the chase? And I am proposing that we rename the entire planet Trump. In the world that this administration is building and this committee is enabling, everything is about Donald Trump anyway. Republicans are proposing that we put his face on currency. His name is apparently going to go on Air Force One. You've introduced a bill to add his head to Mount Rushmore. His whims are shaping everything from who gets prosecuted to who gets silenced and who gets to participate in democracy. And so I would not be surprised if one of you actually proposes a 60-foot statue of him looming over the National Mall, as we've taken, some liberty to depict what that might be. We're trying to get ahead here and skate to where the puck is obviously going. So let's skip the endless parade of one-offs here. It's far more efficient to just cut to the chase. If you want a world where science is sidelined, facts are optional, public service is gutted in favor of gold-plated self-promotion, congratulations, you're living on planet Trump. Let's stop pretending that any of this is about patriotism or efficiency. It is all about power, control, and making everything about one man. So let's just make it official. Show Donald Trump how mindlessly cultish you are. He's going to love this. Let's go ahead and rename the planet Planet Trump.
Jared Huffman, I mean, where is the lie? Seriously, because at first I was like, whoa, and then, Yeah,
it's one of those things where, satire, and it's harder to do satire because there's somebody who really would do that shit, like for real. Yeah. And so it's like, oh, wait, okay. No, you just playing. Okay. You're trying to prove a point. But yeah, I mean, it's still uncomfortable to hear. It's funny. It was clever. But I'm like, Lord, don't give them no ideas. Do not give them any ideas.
I think, seriously, you don't have to give them the idea. They are already doing it. It is a weird cultish. Let me tell you something. We were talking about therapy, right? BetterHelp. Go to betterhelp.com/Don Lemon. So I was in therapy. This was during the first Trump. This was before Biden. And so I was with my therapist, and she would just go, she talked about Trump a lot. I was like, ma'am. She's like, I know. She goes, I know. She said, but I'm trying to figure it out. And she said, there is an eroticism that they have around him. Okay. And I did not. And I was like, really, therapist lady? And so but she was a very good therapist and very expensive, by the way.
Yeah.
And so, but she was right. She said, baddie, or even somewhat sexual.
Yeah.
With the attraction for this man. And it was bizarre. But she was right. And because I was like, oh, no, Joe Biden is going to be elected. It's never going to happen again. But, like I said, therapists be knowing. But anyways,
Yeah.
I don't think that you have to give them any suggestions. I think that there is a weird compulsion to always rationalize anything around him and promote it as good.
Yeah. It is strange though. Like, Bill Clinton, I can understand. He played the saxophone. You know what I'm saying? Barack, I can understand. Trump.
But Bill Clinton was, look, a smart man. I don't care. I just like, wow. If you're smart, a smart man or a woman, it's like, wow, I get it, right?
Yeah.
You fall in love with the brain, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But Donald Trump, and Bill Clinton, he had some cuteness about him. There was some,
that's what I'm saying. Like,
there is nothing, not anything attractive about Donald Trump. Not one thing, not his hair, not his face, not his body, not his brain, not even his money. If he even has any. Okay, because obviously he's out here selling currents to try to get some. Okay, so let's talk about this, Reecie, because I know this is very important to you and it's also very important to me. And this is this man that they wrongfully deported back to El Salvador.
Yeah.
There was a 9-0 loss for the Trump folks, a 9-0 victory for Kilmar Abrego Garcia, that the Supreme Court or the Justice Department is contesting this judge's order. And let me get this straight. The court granted and partly rejected an emergency request filed by the Justice Department contesting a judge's order that Kilmar Abrego Garcia be retrieved from a prison in El Salvador where he was sent on March 15th along with men alleged to be Venezuelan gang members. So anyway, basically they're saying y'all have to bring him back. The lower court that said you had to bring him back, they've got a little bit explaining to do to the Trump administration, but they've got to bring this man back. This is the folks over on Pod Save America breaking it down for us. Watch.
As we were recording, we just got the news that the Supreme Court has decided unanimously that the government must facilitate the return of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. This is the Maryland father that they, with basically no evidence, decided was MS-13, and then the government admitted that they sent him to El Salvador in error, because he had legal protections not to be deported to El Salvador that a judge specifically gave him. I haven't read the opinion yet, but yeah, they've told the government to facilitate his return. This is the case that J.D. Vance tweeted at me and said that I obviously hadn't read the court document about this because he was MS-13. Well, J.D. Vance, I guess you didn't fucking read the court document because all 9 Supreme Court justices, including Sam Alito and Clarence Thomas, think that this guy should be returned. Fuck you too to Stephen Miller, who also asked me if I wanted to live in neighborhoods with foreign terrorists. Well, the Supreme Court does not believe this is a foreign terrorist because they are telling the government to facilitate his return. So that is some pretty good news from the Supreme Court.
It is, but I give a caveat there because, again, it says, let me just read this. The order properly requires the government to facilitate Abrego Garcia's release from custody in El Salvador and to ensure that his case is handled as it would have been had he not been improperly sent to El Salvador, the Supreme Court ruling said. The intended scope of the term, this is a term that they're going to fight over, effectuate, okay, because they had to facilitate and effectuate the return. In the district court's order is, however, unclear and may exceed the district court's authority. The case will now return to the trial court, which is a lower court, and it is not clear whether and when Mr. Abrego Garcia will be returned to the United States. So the district court should clarify its directive with due regard for the deference owed to the executive branch in the conduct of foreign affairs, the Supreme Court ruling said. For its part, the government should be prepared to share what it can concerning the steps it has taken and the prospects of further steps. So, look, I think it's a win, 9-0, that they can move forward, but there's going to be some back and forth. How do you feel about this case?
This case is unconscionable because the government admits that it was an error. And this man has been held in captivity. Be very, very clear. This is captivity. When you abduct a person who is here legally and has legal protections, and you put them on a plane in shackles, ship them or fly them to another country, which, by the way, they fled, and that's why they have legal protection in the United States, and you force him to sit in this jail, hopefully, prayerfully, this man is okay. And that's not, if something happened, I hope it's not because something happened to him that they're trying to stall. That's these people are being held in captivity. Whatever happened to just deporting people and being like, bye bitches, you out of here? They're not just doing that. They're deporting people and holding them captive in another country on our dime, by the way. So it's just unconscionable that they have so little regard for the humanity of people who are not white, straight men. That's the only humanity that they will ever affirm, that they will look at a person that they fucked up in shipping him out and fight tooth and nail to the Supreme Court to keep him in captivity in horrible conditions, in places where they are saying now, oh, well, we're going to get the most heinous criminals that are American citizens, and we're going to ship them to El Salvador. So this is the place that you know is a shithole. This is a place that you know is basically the equivalent of torture, and you're fighting to keep a father who was a law-abiding citizen there and slandering him at the same time. And so the reason why this is so unconscionable, in addition to that, is because it's really trying to set the stage for them to do this again and again and again and again. And they fired or they reassigned the attorney that told the truth about the fact that this man wasn't supposed to be deported. So they are doubling down on this just disgusting, abhorrent, and cruel behavior, because they just care about power. They don't care about people. They only care about power. And everybody should be alarmed about this.
It really is. It's unbelievably frightening. This prison is said to be one of the most notorious in the world. They said if you want to, talk about U.S. prisons, Attica, etc., that they're saying there is no comparison to this. That in this prison that they're in, Attica and others would be like, going to a resort, which is just shocking to me. And by the way, you were saying that this person may already be harmed. That is some consensus. People believe that may be the case with the person, the young man who is the makeup artist, the gay man, that they have not really heard from him, and they don't want to bring him back because they believe that harm may have already come to him. And so again, I don't know what the actual deal is, but that was some of the reporting, that allegedly that's what some of the people believe that has happened. So maybe with Abrego Garcia, it's the same thing. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I pray not. But this is just, it's so, I almost broke down, because I was just like, oh my God, what if something has happened to this? Imagine, just a family member, a person being snatched away from you. They don't communicate, and they're in these torturous conditions. America is torturing innocent people. And the thing about it is, they say, well, this person is MS-13. This person is a criminal, because they think that we're criminals. They think that Black people are criminals. They think that Latino people are criminals, and they think that Muslims are criminals. They think that trans people shouldn't exist. They have so much animus and disdain for anybody's existence that doesn't comport to their white nationalist view. And it's one thing how you feel. I don't care if you don't like me because I don't care if you don't like whoever the situation may be. It's how you act. It's what you do with your power that I'm concerned about. And they have shown that they are willing to take this as far as they can take it. And it's only a matter of time before it gets around to us. And last thing I'll say, Don, is I was on News Nation doing commentary for this MS-13, the fake Alien Enemies Act. And the imagery that they show, they're very clever, is they show people, they put the ones with all the tattoos on their face and the whole thing in the front. And so then it makes people desensitized to what's happening, because they put out the image that all these people are so horrible. The people that didn't have the tattoos was in the back. The people that don't have a criminal record were mixed in there. So we just have to be very, very careful about being like, well, the gang members shouldn't be here. Well, who says they're a gang member? They just lie. They just lie, and they don't care.
A CBS News report, I don't know if you saw, 60 Minutes investigation found that 75% of Venezuelan migrants who were deported had no criminal records. And
So
they're not. Go on.
You're a law-abiding citizen, minding your business in the United States, and then they ship you and hold you in captivity. If you want to deport people, I'm not with that. I'm not with just messing people. But then let them go. Let them go. They're not letting these people go. They are holding these people in captivity who have never committed a crime. So everybody who thinks, oh, I don't break the law. I don't do this. It doesn't matter to these.
It doesn't
people.
matter. And they're saying they're only doing it, but they're not U.S. citizens. But didn't Donald Trump say that they wanted to? I thought there was a report that they wanted to deport even citizens deport citizens who broke the law.
Yeah. They're saying, oh, we're trying to find a lawful way to do it. Y'all don't give a damn about the law. Y'all don't care about the law. Give me a break.
Not at all. Reecie, thank you. Anything else you want to say? Check out Reecie Colbert, the Reecie Colbert Show on Sirius XM Radio.
Yes, I love Lemonation. Y'all follow me if you aren't already, Reecie Colbert on all socials, and subscribe to my YouTube channel because I'm going to be talking White Lotus on Monday, okay?
I haven't seen it. Don't give anything away. I'm going to binge it this weekend.
Yes, binge it this weekend. See, I'm trying to give people time. We're gonna recap the whole season. Black Women Views is my YouTube channel, so help me get my subscribers up. Okay.
All right.
Don, I love you.
I love you too. Look, you see this, right?
I see it.
I'll tell you. Yeah, I'm going to tell the folks about my dinner last night. Okay.
Okay.
Bye, Reecie Colbert.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Okay, I'll be listening today. Listen, I just want to say, Simi, you're amazing. Thank you because of Simi's generosity. I don't know if 50 people I've saw that early that get to become members. It may be 100 because I saw earlier and I put a note up to say thank you, Simi, for your generosity. Also, thank you, Rebecca Conklin. 20 folks get to become members of Elimination. Gwendolyn Douglas, 5 folks get to become members of the Elimination because of your generosity. So thank you guys so much for that. There's Gwendolyn and Rebecca, and there were probably others. Simi, I don't know if Simi gave 20. I don't know, and then she gave 50. Simi, I loves me some Simi. Okay, so welcome Loretta Faye. Welcome Black American to the Elimination. Welcome Kimberly Brown to the Elimination. Welcome Mr. Jerome 71 to the Elimination. Make sure you guys subscribe as well, okay? I need you to hit that subscribe button so we can get our subscribers up. We're trying to get to 1 million, okay? So help us get to 1 million. Can you guys do that? Check it. Make sure you're subscribed. Go hit that subscribe button and make sure that you have, all right? Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the like button. Get the views up. Make sure you subscribe. The membership link is at the top of the chat. And go vote for us on the Webbies. We should get a clip from our Whoopi Goldberg interview and put it up and show people what they're voting on. But Whoopi Goldberg, our interview with Whoopi Goldberg, where she said, I love a hit and run. You know what that means. Hit it, go home. That's what Whoopi said. And so that interview is nominated for a Webby. I think the link to vote for that is at the top of the chat. Share and subscribe. You're right. Someone says I voted. Someone says I voted twice. Look, I don't know how many times you can vote. That's your business. You vote as many times as you want. Okay. So I told you guys last night, I'm going to give you a little info, right? And you know what I didn't do? I did not take a picture. There were paparazzi there, and it was so crazy that I didn't get a selfie with Wendy. So let's see if the pictures show up in the trades, and then you'll get the picture. So anyways, Wendy called me last week. She said, I need to look, Don, I'm tired of this place. I need to get out. Can you take me to dinner? And I said, sure. She goes, how about Thursday? I said, sure. The whole week went by and I totally forgot. And then Wendy called me and said, what time is dinner? I said, oh shit. So I had to end up you guys heard me, I had to make a reservation. If you're on the private chat, this was in our private chat last night. So if you're not a member, you're not in the private chat, then you didn't hear that. And the folks who are subscribers on the TikTok also heard it. So anyways, we made a reservation. Wendy met us. Her attorney called us and talked to us for a little bit, and we joked around or whatever. And it's like, take care of my girl or whatever. And so we went to dinner with her niece's boyfriend, my husband, and me. And we were sitting there. We were having a great dinner. Wendy was like, I'm going to eat everything, Don, because the food where I am is awful. And so she ate a lot. She ordered, you know how they bring you like the things over at the table? They're like, oh, this is compliments to the chef. Wendy was like, can I have another one? And we laughed. Totally fine. What did I want to say? She was in good spirits. She sounded good. She looked great. She didn't have on a stitch of makeup like on her face. She had on eyeliner and lipstick, but like nothing. Her skin looks great. She's gained some weight. She sounds good. She remembered details for things that I couldn't even remember. And she's like talking to me about a conversation that we had. And I'm like, how do you remember that, Wendy? And I said, the irony that you're in the memory unit of this place. So, yeah, Wendy is a foodie, and she was doing the thing where she would go, she would do that. And so we came around, I got drinks, just so you know, Wendy ordered a water, and that's all she had for dinner. And so we showed up a little bit early to make sure, and the paparazzi was there, took our picture going in, whatever, I hated it. And then Wendy showed up, she got out of the car, and then she was on her little scooter, which you'll see if the picture comes out, and it was like, Wendy, the door from it's just a sidewalk. She got on her scooter, and her scooter has like a little Louis Vuitton, I think, like purse on front, like a basket on the front of a bicycle. Hilarious. Only Wendy would do that. And I'm going to write about it today on Substack. And we had a great conversation. In the middle of our talk, in the middle of our dinner, Alec and Hilaria Baldwin come by the table. And Hilaria was like, I've been thinking about you, Wendy. I've been worried about you. I see stuff about you in the trades. I don't know what's true. I don't know what's not, but we're thinking about you and we love you. Alex, same thing. We've never met. Hilaria had been on the show before. Alec had not been on the show. And so it was a great dinner out. So yes, so much for dementia. Someone said there, look, I'm not a medical expert. I don't know. Wendy sounded fine to me. I'm just going to let me tell you the truth. So did she sound like the Wendy when she was on the radio or when she was on her show? Yes and no, but neither do I. I'm just going to be honest. I know you guys, get all upset and want to cancel people. I'm a man of a certain age. I'm not in my prime anymore. I haven't been since I was like 35 or 40 years old. Okay. When I used to be able to run 10 miles, or I don't sound like I did 10 years ago or 5 years ago. That's what happens to all of us. We get there. And so do I think Wendy should be out? Free Wendy? Yes and no. I don't think she should be in that facility where she is. That's part of the reason I believe that she is getting better, is that because there are people watching and taking care of her. But I think that she should be free in a sense where she has more autonomy. She can go out to dinner with people. She would have a monitor or a coach with her. And of course, security. So I feel the same way. So everybody get off your high horse about when someone, whatever, and stop being so sensitive. I am a 59-year-old man. I will be 60. Okay. I'll just tell you that. I can't believe that I'm that old. I don't think I look that old anyways. But I was just trying to remember the names of prisons, and I'm like, wait, what's the name of the Attica and whatever? And what's the name? I can't remember things, and people have to remind me. And sometimes it's just because you have so much on your mind. And I think, I said to Wendy, the last time I saw her at my house a couple of years ago, she was not in a good space. She wasn't in a good headspace. She was not in a good place. And I said to her last night, I was like, Wendy, you're a different person. She goes, no, I'm the same person. I said, no, that's not. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. You're in a better place. You're lighter. Your aura is, better. Your energy is better now. She goes, yeah, I was going through a divorce and all that. I said, yes. So all of that stuff pretty much is behind, you. And so she's in a better place. So something needs to be done. I hope they stop spending her money on all of these crazy facilities and all of these attorneys and just simplify all of it, make it manageable, get her out of this jail-like situation, and do what's right for Wendy. I'm not a family member. I don't have that power to be able to do it, but I do have the power to be able to tell you what happened. Again, I'm going to write about it on my Substack. Go to donlemon.com and write about it on my Substack. I cannot believe that did I not get a selfie? And hopefully I didn't. All I got was the coat check. So hopefully one of the paparazzi people will put in there, and I can put a picture on my Substack. So go to donlemon.com for Substack. Check it out. Thank you for watching us today. I really do appreciate it. You look good for your age. Thank you. I don't feel that. I think age is a number in that sense, but I am not naive and I'm not delusional to think that age does not affect people mentally and physically. It does. I'm not offended if someone tells me that. It is the truth and the reality. My mom is 80 something years old. She's sharp as a tack, but she will tell you, she'll go, that's, what's the name? And then she'll remember it. Or my mom used to get up and just go, zoom around everywhere to the mall. And then she'd go to the home store. And then she'd go, I'm going to redecorate the house. And then she'd change all the sheets. And then she'd make us change all the curtains in the house. She'd do all that like in a weekend and a day. She doesn't do that anymore. She doesn't have the energy because what? Because she has the same thing that all of us have. Age, time affect all of us. So don't be offended when people tell you that. Yes, aging is a privilege. I'm a man of a certain age, and I am happy to be aging. I'm not going to try to pretend that I am what I was when I was 30 years old. And nobody should. That's why my forehead works. That's why I have little lines right here, because I love getting old. That's why I don't color. I never have. I've always had these little gray hairs. People used to think I color my hair. I do not color my hair. So I think aging gracefully and being realistic about who you are and what age and time does to all of us, I think is really important. You just keep rolling, as you say. You just keep moving. You just stay as healthy as you can. Weight doesn't come off as quickly as it used to. I can't lift the same amount of weights as I used to. Like, oh, I don't have the same amount of testosterone level as I used to. It just that's what happens. That's life. And you know what? I'm glad I'm here. Okay? And you should be too. Whatever age you are. Okay, so stop being so offended when people talk about age and all that shit because you want to pretend like you're going to live forever and there's not we all have an expiration date. Did you hear me? Stop pretending that we don't and that we are going to somehow game the system. We all have an expiration date. All of us. And we don't know when that date is. But I think I'm aging like a fine wine. I think I'm better looking now than I was when I was in my 30s, in my 40s. I know that's right. Okay, guys. So I will see you back here live at 5 o'clock. Thank you for your support. This is the Candid channel. This is where we tell you the truth. This is where we don't pretend. It's whatever comes up, comes out. It's not overly produced, whatever. So anyways, I'll see you back here live at 5 o'clock. We're not loud and wrong. 5 o'clock Eastern time. Check out our drop at 2 o'clock. Go vote for our Webby at the top of the chat. Hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, and all of those things. Check out the Substack, donlemon.com. Also, our incredible sponsors. Thank you. First up, BetterHelp. BetterHelp.com/Don Lemon. Go check it out. Get your mental health in order. BetterHelp.com/Don Lemon. Also, the Freedom from Religion Foundation. Freedom from Religion Foundation, ffrp.us/freedom, or text my first name, Don, to 511-511 and become a member today. Let me see. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to text 511-511. Hang on. 511. Excuse me. 511. Okay. 511. I just want to make sure that I do it right. I don't want to screw it up. To 511-511, text Don. 511-511. Make sure I have it on there. I'm going to do Don. I'm going to put it in all caps just in case. Let's see. All right. That was it. Oh, look. And then it pops up. See? Freedom for Religion Foundation. It pops up. That's it. It's that simple. It says Christian nationalism is reshaping our government. Don't let religion overstep its bounds. Join FFRP to keep church and state separate. And then you can click on a link if you want. And if you don't want it, you can just type in stop. So go check it out. Okay? All right, guys. So love you, everything. You know what I say every time we log off of this thing. You guys ready? You guys ready? You guys ready? Okay, so as I say, thank you for joining us. We appreciate your support. We're going to see you live at 5 and turn the TV off. Thanks everyone for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members-only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support.